Welcome back to Gyan Gatha. In the previous episode, we saw a glimpse of the deep meaning of the story depicted in the Uttam Charitra. We will now go back to the original story of Rishi Medha, talking to King Surat and Merchant Samadhi, and see what happened to them after they gained the knowledge. I would also thereafter tell the various aspects related to Chandi Parayanam or guidelines for recitation, and also the benefits of reciting the Devi Mahatmya. Chapters 11 and 12 comprise of Devi Stuti by Devas and how Devi assures them of help whenever asked for. It also has the benefits of chanting or hearing Chandi Path, Durga Saptashati or Devi Mahatmyam. Now, let's begin with this last episode of Devi Mahatmyam series. When the great lord of Asuras, Shumb and Nishum, were slain by the goddess, Indra and other gods, headed by Agni, lauded goddess Katyayani. All the gods were illuminating the quarters with their moon-like faces, cheerfully as their wishes had been fulfilled. The goddess said, "O host of gods, I shall grant a boon. Choose whatever boon you desire in your mind, and I shall grant it for the welfare of the world." The gods said, "O sovereign of all, in this very manner you should accomplish the destruction of all our foes, and also put an end to all the afflictions of three worlds." The Devi said, "With a concentrated mind, whoever shall pray to me constantly with these hymns, I shall without doubt put an end to all his troubles. Whoever extols my deeds relating to the destruction of Madhu and Ketak, the killing of Mahishasura, and likewise the slaughter of Shumb and Nishum, whoever listens devotedly with a focused mind to my glories sung in this Mahatmyam on the 8th, the 14th, and on the 9th days of the fortnight, to them nothing bad shall happen, nor calamities that arise from wrongdoings, nor poverty, nor separation from beloved ones, neither fear from enemies, robbers, kings, nor from weapons, fire and floods. Hence, this, my Mahatmyam, must be chanted by those of concentrated minds and listened to constantly with devotion, for it is the supreme way to well-being. This Mahatmyam will quell all sufferings due to epidemics, as also the three types of calamities. I will never forsake, and the place of my sanctuary where this poem is duly chanted every day, here I shall certainly be. When offerings are made during worship, in fire rituals, and on great festivals, this Mahatmyam should be entirely chanted and heard. I shall fondly accept the sacrifice, the worship, and the fire ritual thus done, whether they are done with appropriate knowledge or not. It will result in the pacification of children under the grasp of Bal Grahas. It is the best promoter of friendship amongst men when there is a break in relationships. It destroys most effectively the strength of all evildoers. Verily, demons, ghosts, and augurs are destroyed by its mere chanting. This Mahatmyam of mine, chanted in its entirety, makes a devotee very close to me. By means of finest flowers, arghya, and incenses, and by perfumes and lamps, by feeding brahmanas, by oblations, by sprinkling consecrated water, and by various other offerings and gifts, if one worships day and night for a full year, the satisfaction that I get, the same is attained by reciting or listening to this Mahatmyam of mine." Now let's have a look at the 13th chapter of Devi Mahatmyam, where we'll go back to the original story of Rishi Medha, King Surat, and Merchant Samadhi. Having narrated the entire story and its mysterious meaning to King Surat and Merchant Samadhi, Rishi Medha asks both of them to take refuge in Devi. Both prostrate in front of Rishi and proceed to perform austerities. Abstaining from partake food with only one thought, their minds fixed on her, they performed severe austerities for 3 years. Devi Chandika, pleased with their penances, appeared before them and told them to tell her their wishes. The king chose a kingdom that would never perish, even in future life, while in this life sought strength to destroy the strength of his enemies and thus restoration of his own kingdom. The wise merchant, on the other hand, chose the knowledge which releases one from attachment of mine and I. Goddess granted both of them their wishes. King Surat would be the eighth Manu, that is born through Surya, called Savarni, while the merchant was granted self-knowledge for his self-fulfillment. This is where the story of King Surat, Merchant Samadhi and Rishi Medha ends. Now, let's know some guidelines for Chandi Parayanam. In Chandi Sadhana, Parayanam or the recital of the text is considered more important than the japa of any mantra. Though the Navakshari mantra is chanted, it is chanted as an integral part of the recital of the text. Traditionally, the entire text of 13 chapters is recited in Sanskrit. There is an obligatory prelude, which is called Purva Bhag, as well as postlude, which is called Uttar Bhag, to the central text of 13 chapters. The Navakshari mantra is also an integral part of Chandi Parayanam. Traditionally, recitation of the Chandi is a serious and complete sadhana in itself and requires initiation from a guru. Most people are content with chanting selected shlokas of the text or chanting the Durga Sapta Shloki, which is made up of 7 verses, which contains the essence of Chandi. Apart from a devout reading of the myth in a language that they are familiar with, chanting selected shlokas for specific results is a practice that is quite common. The recitation of the entire text of 13 chapters can be done in several ways. One way is to do all the 13 chapters continuously in one sitting, or it can be done in a span of 3 days, where on day 1, one should do chapter 1, on day 2, chapters 2, 3, 4, and on day 3, chapters 5 to 13. Or in the third system, if it is done in a span of 9 days, then one reading of the text should be done in 3 days, followed by 2 more repetitions in the next 6 days, thus completing 3 readings of the text in 9 days. In case it is to be done in a span of 7 days, then one should do chapter 1 on day 1, chapters 2 and 3 on day 2, chapter 4 on day 3, chapters 5, 6, 7 and 8 on day 4, chapters 9 and 10 on day 5, chapter 11 on day 6, and chapters 12 and 13 on day 7. If there is no time to read all 13 chapters, then at least Madhyam Charitra, which comprises of chapters 2, 3 and 4, can be recited. Any of these methods can be adopted in reciting the Chandi. Those who are not initiated but still wish to benefit from Chandi Sadhana can follow the same procedure, except that they may read the translated story in English or any other language as a spiritual practice. Even the myth itself is very powerful and therapeutic. Those who are not initiated can devoutly read the myth and chant the Sapta Shloki. The goddess will shower her grace on those who do this with faith. Sri Chandi should be read with firm faith, devotion and correct pronunciation. The 9 days of Durga Puja during autumnal equinox, that is Sharad Navratri, and spring equinox, that is Vasant Navratri, are very auspicious times of the year. Those who cannot do regular Parayanam can read the Chandi at least on these selected auspicious weekdays, lunar days, or the 9 nights. The whole text has to be audibly recited. It should not be silently read. During the time of reading, one should not talk, think, sleep, sneeze, yawn, or spit, but read with full concentration on Devi. One should not stop in the middle of a chapter, and the book should be placed on a stand, preferably a copper plate. At the beginning and end of each chapter, bells are to be rung. Before reciting the text, it is necessary to do the Sankalp and Shri Devi Puja. The recitation should be done in the following order: Kavach, Argala Stotra, Kilak, Navakshari Jap, Ratri Sukta, Devi Mahatmyam, Navakshari Mantra Jap, Devi Suktam, Rahasyatrayam, and Kshama Prarthana. Apart from regular recitation of the text, there is another practice of following a fixed number of recitations by Chandi Home. Like any other ritual, this will require trained priests to conduct it. Let us now know about the benefits of reciting Devi Mahatmyam. The greatness of the Devi Mahatmyam is extensively explained in several texts such as Rudrayamla, Mari Chikalpa, Meru Tantra, Katak Tantra, Chidambar Rahasya, etc. The place where the text is recited becomes flooded with waves of vibration, purifying the whole place and invoking the presence of the very Devi. Though initially it is unconscious, through regular sadhana, a conscious dialogue starts between the goddess and the devotee. Her grace protects the devotee and guides him through his own prarabdha, fulfilling the immediate wants in life as and when necessary, and eventually the supreme goal of life. The Devi Mahatmyam has the ability to grant the fruits as per the upasana. A Sakam Upasak, that is one who does sadhana with a specific desire or goal in mind, achieves whatever he aspires for, while a Nishkam Upasak, that is one who does sadhana without any expectation or desire, achieves moksha as revealed in the story. Surat, the king, was bestowed with unmixed prosperity, whereas the merchant Samadhi was conferred with divine knowledge according to their own aspirations. If Sri Chandi is pleased, she confers on her devotees both earthly prosperity as well as the supreme knowledge. The Devi Mahatmyam tells us that one time she is Mahamari, the destroyer, and at another time she, the unborn, becomes this creation. She herself, the eternal being, sustains the beings at other times. In times of prosperity, she is verily Lakshmi, who bestows prosperity in the homes of men, and in times of misfortune, she herself becomes the goddess of misfortune and brings about ruin. When lauded and worshipped with flowers, perfumes, and incense, she bestows wealth, offspring, and an auspicious bent of mind on dharma. The hymns of Devi Mahatmyam are not only devotional and poetic, but also philosophical and sublime. As I had mentioned in the first episode of the series, the Meru Tantra proclaims that even Vishnu knows only 3/4 of the inner sense, Brahma knows half, Vyas knows only a quarter, while others know only a fraction of the true significance of the Devi Mahatmyam. As such, it would need a lifetime of study for us to understand even a small part of the fraction itself. This entire series of videos was therefore only an introduction aimed at motivating viewers to study further. Our series on the Devi Mahatmyam ends here. We are glad to be connected with you on Gyan Gatha. Stay longer for more interesting series in future on this very channel. Thank you and Namaskar.